I just as a kid, like, I just love like science shows and like science kind of shit. It was just like interesting to me to like learn about how things work. It's just like music. It's like everyone has their own individual tastes. It's the same with politics. It's like you could be super far right, you could be right, you could be middle, you could be like middle right, you could be like, it's just, there's such a wide spectrum of people's like beliefs on issues, and there's so many different issues.
What do you think about the whole like Twitter EDM beef thing?
My whole thing is whatever you put out into the world is what you're gonna get back. Someone says something bad to you, say something bad back to them, more people are gonna say bad stuff to you. Got up the courage to like tell my dad I don't want to like do like I appreciate like all the opportunities you've given me, but I want to do like music, and I want to go to this school and try and do, you know, try and make this happen.
Hi, today I'm here with Derek of SLANDER.
What's up, guys?
Where were you born?
I was born in Arcadia in California, and then I grew up in Glendora, which is like a little bit east of there, and then yeah, I went to college in Orange County at UC Irvine, and that's where I met Scott and everything, so. Yeah.
What were you into back then as a kid? Like before all the music stuff?
I've been doing music for a really long time, like even when I was a little kid and stuff, so. Like, I would do like musicals and like sing in church and.
Oh really? You're like a singing kid?
Plays and stuff, and yeah, like was in choir and all that stuff, so. Like, I've just been doing music since I was really, really young, and it just got to the point where I was like 13 years old, 14 years old, and I just kind of felt like my parents were like making me do music, and so I just kind of stopped doing it. Yeah. And I kind of, in high school, I was just like always the kid who was just like looking for new music all the time, and I never really realized it until now what I was like actually doing. Right. But I was just, you know, building my taste and growing like in inspiration and stuff, and then and then high school I was like super into like hip hop and rock and yeah, I mean all my friends like we just listened to hip hop all the time. Are your parents musicians or? Like my mom played piano for us when we were kids and stuff, but like not like professional musicians or anything. How would you describe yourself like back then, your personality? Yeah, I mean, I think I was definitely way more shy than I am now, but I think I still am really shy now, so it's just, I think I've gotten over, like, certain fears about, like, you know, just about myself and, like, you know, do I know what is cool, and should people, like, trust me with what they listen to and shit like that, and what helped me really get over all that was like going to Icon Collective, which was like a music school I went to after college, and it was in Burbank, and that's where I met Nightmare. He was in my class, and we just became best friends through that experience, and yeah, Icon changed my life. It like taught me how to be a producer and taught me to get over all the little shit that doesn't matter, and you know, that's what it takes to be a creative person. It's just like writer's block just stems from fear. So if you can get over all your fears, you could be a creative like all day, every day, and like the ideas will come as long as you're not scared. So. What kind of subjects were you into like back in high school? Were you just like, was music your favorite subject? No, I mean, I never really studied music in high school, so yeah, definitely like history and science and shit. Oh yeah? I was like really into science, and
where do
I just
you
love
get
learning
that
about
from?
I don't know. I just as a kid, like, I just love like science shows and like science kind of shit. It was just like interesting to me to like learn about how things work.
What careers are your parents in?
My dad has his own like commercial plumbing business, so he does like builds plumbing for like hospitals and hotels and shit. And then my mom, she used to have a craft store, kind of like Michael's, but more of like a mom and pop kind of style one. And then now she like works for my dad. But did they push you academically, or were they just chill with you whatever you did? Yeah, I mean, they were definitely like helped me, and yeah, I mean, I got like pretty good grades or whatever in high school and college, and school was like usually pretty easy for me. But yeah, I was blessed. I mean, when I look back now, like like I remember when I was in high school, like I would always be excited for Tuesday to come because that was the day that iTunes like dropped new music every single week. And I just, like looking back on it now, it's just like I was just always that kid who was just like looking for new music. And you know, obviously that can progress like into being a tastemaker or a DJ or whatever. And you know, I just didn't know what a DJ was back then. And didn't know like what I was really doing and stuff. But I was just always that person.
What kind of music did your parents play in the house when you were growing up?
My dad was like into like 90s rock and yeah, I mean we used to like go to like Lake Havasu a lot when I was a kid, and so my dad would like play that stuff like in the boat and just more like alternative kind of rock kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then you graduated high school and then studied, was it political science?
Yeah, so I
At
did
UC.
poli-sci and UCI, and I was super, I mean, I'm kind of into politics and stuff, but it's just one of those things is like once I learned about it and did my major in it, like I for sure realized it was not what I wanted to do, just because like a lot of the systems you learn about are like super unfair, and like I took an elections class, and that was like, that's what like really opened my mind about how things are like put into place instead of people actually voting. It's just like things are arranged so things happen a certain way, and like people's voices are like, basically they design certain elections so people's voices are impressed purposefully, and like there's just, and so like when I learned shit like that, I was just like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like even if I'm a good person and people support me, there's still like these barriers of power and like corruption that keep good people from getting into these like spots where they can change things, because nobody wants things to change who are already in the system. It's just like they just want to keep getting paid from their sponsors or their lobbyists or whatever, and I just wouldn't want to go into politics with like a good heart and a good mind and then just be changed into like the monster that most politicians are.
How far on did it click to you, like sophomore year or after you graduated?
Yeah, I mean it was probably like junior year when I started taking like the more in-depth like classes and stuff, but yeah, it's just a bummer just because there are like a lot of people who have good intentions and then they get into like that industry and then they learn the real behind the scenes kind of thing that's going on, and then I mean even if you look at things now, it's just like there's only like a handful of senators who are like really trying to do good things for the people instead of just take kickbacks and stuff. So it's just, the system's so ingrained, it's just like it's hard for one person to do anything. It's more of like you need like general population, like people like us, not politicians, to like really do stuff.
Do you use your like social media and voice to do much about it now?
It's just one of those things. It's just tricky. It's just like I speak when I have to, and then you know, it's interesting. It's just because it's just like music. It's like everyone has their own individual taste. It's the same with politics. It's like you could be super far right, you could be right, you could be middle, you could be like middle right, you could be like, it's just, there's such a wide spectrum of people's like beliefs on issues, and there's so many different issues. It's just for you to say one thing and for it to like not affect all these other things that people believe, that's the hard thing. It's just because people don't just believe one thing, people believe lots of things, so it's just, it's very tricky. And like I did like I think there was something when like Trump was like just like joking about using nukes on Europe, and I like had to write something about that because like you know, Europe is our closest ally for the last, you know, whenever like 50 years or whatever, and for him to even joke about like bombing the people that supported us like in like World War II and like got us through some of the hardest times like in the history of the world, like that's just like, it's unspeakable, and I had to say something. But you know, that's like one of those things that crossed the line for me. It's just like you just can't joke about bombing people who helped us, like it's just like messed up.
What do you think about the whole like Twitter EDM beef thing?
My whole thing is whatever you put out into the world is what you're gonna get back. If someone says something bad to you, say something bad back to them, more people are going to say bad stuff to you. So it's like, for me, like, I just live my life like I'm like water. Just let everything flow through me, good or bad. Like, no reaction is the best reaction. And yeah, I mean, that's just what I feel. And it's just one of those things, like when you say something, you speak it into the world, you create energy.
Yeah.
And everything's just a reflection. Like, if you say something, it's exactly going to come back exactly the same way you said it. Either in another time, through another person, or through more people. And so, like, I only choose to, like, put out positive energy, no matter what.
Yeah.
And even if someone is saying bad things about me, you just let it go through you instead of, like, creating more resistance. Like, the world doesn't need more resistance, doesn't need more people fighting, doesn't need more rocks. Like, it just needs people to, like, not react with negativity.
Yeah.
Like, don't react to negativity with negativity.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve
like
anything. But, you know, people, once again, people believe many things.
Yeah.
Have many opinions. And, you know, a lot of people have a very, very strong ego that forces them to say things, forces them to defend themselves when really, you know, we're all the same. Like, there's no really, like, real distinctions on what's inside of all of us, you know? So if you can see past that and see that every single person on earth, like, is your brother and sister, and every single person on earth has a piece of God inside them, whether you want to believe it or not. Like, you're putting out negative energy to another, like, God being, like, that's just not a good idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's just what I feel.
What made you want to join? Was it Sigma Kappa?
Yeah, it was Kappa Sigma.
Oh, Kappa
so
Sigma.
Me and Scott are, like, in the same, we were in the same fraternity, and and even before we were DJs, like, we were just homies. Like, we just went to shows and raves with our friends, and we had a really close, like, knit squad who went with us. And and then,
what made you want to join a frat?
I just knew I kind of always wanted to do it, just based on, like, other people's experiences. Like, I just always heard, you know, the friends that you make in the fraternity are, like, the ones that will last for your whole life. And I feel like as an adult, it's, like, kind of hard to keep your friends close, but, like, doing the fraternity and, like, having this, like, bond with these guys that I don't have with other people, it's, like, enabled us to stay friends for a lot longer. And, like, I'm still friends with, like, all of them. And like, our VJ, Kevin, is, like, my best friend from the fraternity as well. You know, Scott's from it. So it's just cool to, like, have these lifelong friendships when, you know, being an adult, like, a lot of your friends, like, kind of fall away.
Yeah.
If you don't keep up or whatever.
Were you already putting out music before you met Scott?
No. I mean, we weren't even DJing.
Yeah.
So we were just going to shows, and then, like, I was collecting music, collecting, like, electronic music, and then it just got to this point where I was like, I have enough music, like, maybe I could DJ, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in college I met Scott and a couple other people who, like, showed me, like, electronic music. Like, one of the first people I met in college, his name was John Gonzalez, and he showed me, like, Armin and David Guetta and trance and, like, everything, and took me to, like, my first rave. And yeah, it was really incredible, and I was just, like, super moved by the energy at the event, like, the first time I went, and just how it was, like, kind of like a judgment-free zone. And I never really realized that there was, like, a place that was, like, truly like that, because, like, in high school it's, like, a pretty volatile, like, environment. Like, people are pretty hostile and, like, very judgmental or whatever. And
did you go through that sort of phase? Like, people just...
I mean, I just feel like in high school it's just, like, that's just how kids are. It's, like, it's kind of like kill or be killed. It's just, you know, kids are still learning how to be cordial with one another. And, like, don't have, like, these other boundaries that, like grown adults have or whatever. So they're just, like, a little more vicious towards each other and, like, just unrelenting. And so, yeah, when I went to my first rave or whatever, I just kind of felt like, wow, this is, like, a place where everyone is nice to each other and no one is judging each other. Everyone can, like, do whatever they want, like, be whoever they want. Like it was amazing. And I was super moved, and I just decided I really wanted to, like, focus my energy on electronic music, and I was just a listener for a really long time. I never really had aspirations to like DJ or anything, and yeah, it just got to the point where I was collecting music again, but this time it was electronic music, and then I got to the point where I had so much music. I was just like, maybe I could DJ. Basically, I went to go see Armin like in 2008 for New Year's Eve, and then I didn't DJ until like 2 years later.
Oh, wow.
So then I basically DJ'd like a fraternity party. I was pledging the fraternity, and I was like, they were trying to find a house to have a party at.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys can have a party at my house, but I want to DJ.
Yeah.
And then
were you guys?
I did it,
Yeah.
and I was just doing it solo. And after the party, like a couple of my friends like came up to me and told me I did a good job. So I was like, either I have really nice friends, or I'm like kind of good at this. But either way, it's like a positive thing regardless. Yeah. So like I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then the second time I ever DJ was with Scott, and then we just kept doing it together after that.
How did you teach yourself DJ? Was it like YouTube or friends?
I would just listen to other DJ mixes, like,
then
try and replicate them.
Yeah.
With my own songs, and yeah, it was really tricky at first because like I used to listen to like trance a lot, and like their mixes are like you can barely hear them happening, and so like I think that's what kind of made me like pretty technical, just with transitions and stuff. Just because with trance, like it's supposed to be like one piece, like you can't hear the separation between the songs basically. So yeah, I mean, I would just listen to like a state of trance every week and listen to trance around the world every week and just kind of hear what they were doing and how they were switching between the songs. And then like when I would go watch DJs or whatever, but I never really took like a DJ class.
Yeah.
It was more of just me like messing around on my laptop, or I finally bought like a controller, like a tractor controller.
Yeah.
And just messing around at home by myself and just making mixes too. We used to do like mixtapes, like one every week, like a 2-hour mixtape.
Oh wow!
And so we did that for like 15 weeks or something. And so just doing that too, like made me like learn so much. Just forcing myself to sit down and do a 2-hour mix every single week, and it wasn't in Ableton. It was like I would just record myself for 2 hours just mixing live.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times I would like do the whole mix and then get to the very end and then like mess up and then have to do the whole thing over again because it was just like a one take kind of thing. And so I think that really like, I mean, I was just forcing myself to practice without knowing it.
And when you graduated, you started doing like DJing full time, right?
When I graduated, we were just local DJs in college, like just doing club shows and like in Orange County and LA and San Diego and sometimes in Vegas. And then when I graduated, I started working for my dad, and I really realized then I was like, I need to figure out how to like make this into a career, because I really, I love music so much, and so I was like, I need to figure out how to make a song because I don't know how to make a song. And I just got into like some producer groups on Facebook, and I met Keizo in there, like it was back in like 2012, 2011, and like Cisco. We were all friends like way back then online, just trying to like help each other and share each other's songs and stuff. And so I like got a mentor, someone who knew what he was doing. His name was Jacob, and I would just go to his house like every other night, and I would just watch him him use Ableton for like 8 hours. And so I just did that for a while, and then and then I met Keizo online and asked him to do a song, and then he actually showed me Icon for the first time. So I went to go do the song with him, and it was at the old Icon building. And I just remember when I walked in the door, there was like a lobby, and there was like a bunch of couches or whatever, and there was like 10 kids in there just on their laptops with the headphones, just working, not talking to each other. And I was just like, this is the spot I need to be at. Like I never knew like something like this existed, where it was just a school just for electronic music and just for people who wanted to DJ and stuff. So I thought about it for like a year and just like got up the courage to like tell my dad I don't want to like do like I I appreciate like all the opportunities you've given me, but I want to do like music, and I want to go to this school and try and do, try and make this happen. And so it took me a year to like get the courage to kind of ask him and tell him that.
Was he receptive?
Yeah, and he was super supportive.
That's
and
cool.
wanted me to do it. And so then I went to Icon and met Nightmare, and yeah.
Do you think you wouldn't be able to get where you are now if it wasn't for Icon?
I think Icon was just definitely like a lightning bolt that like just struck me, and just because the things I learned there, like actually changed my perspective on life.
Oh wow!
Not just taught me how to make a song, and
what did you learn there?
Well, just like the letting go of fear kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Just because, when you're a young producer and you haven't put out music, you're basically just scared of what people are going to think. Because you haven't put out music, you've never seen people's reactions before, you don't know what your sound is, there's just like all these what ifs that create fear and writer's block, and like, oh, I need to make a song like this, I need to make a song like this, I need to make a song that sounds like this, I need to make a song that sounds like this person. And so I had all that inside me until I went to Icon, and then there's a class at the end of it. It's called Art of Flow, and it basically just tells you to like just not be scared of anything, because there's really no reason to be scared. All your fear stems from the fear of death, and so if you can like get over that, then you can get over like any fear.
Yeah.
And so once I was able to like just get past all that shit, then I was like, I want to make music for myself. Like, I don't want to make music for other people anymore. And that's when I like came up with Heaven Trap, or like our style or whatever. And it was just because like I was super into trance music, and at the time I was super into like trap kind of space stuff. And so I was like, I want to make a trance trap song. And like in my head, that was always like, wow, it sounds like a terrible idea. But I was like, I don't care about that voice in my head that's telling me it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I want to make it because that's the kind of song I want to listen to. Like, I want to make it for me.
And what was your idea behind, like, why you want to do Heaven Trap? I mean, like, a lot of DJs now want to be, like, genreless and, like, not have a certain label.
Yeah.
But then I feel like you guys have, like, pushed, like, you want to be labeled. What's the reason behind that?
Just to stand out.
Yeah.
If everyone's genreless, then everyone's the same. We obviously play like a lot of different genres in our sets, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that unless you have a brand that's completely like outrageous, that stands out from everything, your music has to stand out, or else you're just kind of like lost in the sea of everyone doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and for me, like, the things that really like influenced me and like pushed me to do this was just like the moments that I had at shows, just like watching Above and Beyond and like crying in the crowd to like super emotional song, and like being there with your friends and like all of you sharing this moment together, like this super like spiritual, like emotional kind of moment. And that's like the moments that I want to give to my fans. So I was like, I want to take this kind of like trance, super emotional vibe and just infuse it with bass music. And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to share these moments that I experienced in the crowd, like with our fans, and I just knew how much it changed me and like affected me positively, and so that's why I chose that kind of music.
Yeah. And what was there like a turning point when you started from being just like local DJs to like how big you are now? Was there like a specific event you played or someone who put you on?
It was more like when we did the We Like to Party remix with Tyler with Nightmare. I think that was the turning point for all of us. Like,
yeah.
Even for him, because that was his first song, and it was our first big song. We had to put out a couple tracks before that, but none of them had gotten like over 50,000 plays. And we put out that song, and it got like 300,000 plays in the first week, and then like 1 million in the first month, and we had never seen shit like that. So it just went from like 0 to like 100 really quickly just with this one song. So like, really grateful, like people dug it.
Yeah.
Like it just clicked, and I still love playing that song. We like play it as our second or third song in every single set, and it just goes off still, and it's just something I made, and 2014, which is crazy that it's just kind of still works.
Yeah. Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
I just want to be remembered for making people feel good and have good times, and like through my music, like that's the one thing they ask you at Icon. It's like the first question they ask you in the interview when you're applying is, what do you want people to say at your funeral?
Damn.
And so when they first asked me that, like, I didn't know the answer, and basically they just trick everyone. They like ask you that. Obviously no one has thought about that unless you're like, I don't know, super deep or something. And so they're like, go home,
Super deep.
like take as much time as you need, like just figure out the answer to that question. It's so important to know like the finish line of your life, because then you know where you should go.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and I was like, at my funeral, I want people to say I made them feel happy through my music. That's what I want.
Yeah, I love that.
I'll be completely satisfied with that. Sometimes you don't realize what you do as a DJ until you like meet the people in person. And like we did a meet and greet at our pop-up shop in LA, and we had never done a public meet and greet before. Like usually we just do it at a festival. It's like 10 to 15 people get chosen and stuff.
Oh.
And so this was like the first time we ever were like, we're gonna be here at this time. Anyone can come. And like 2,000 people showed up.
That's crazy.
Just to, like,
yeah, I think I saw the lines.
come to the store and like meet us and stuff. And you know, we were planning on doing the meet and greet for like an hour and a half, and then we were just gonna leave. And we just started doing it. And there's just like more and more people, more and more people. And we're like, and the best thing about it was, you know, these people have been waiting for like 5 or 6 hours, right? And so they come into the store. There's like a little line in the store of like the people who are about to like meet us. And I'm like, right when I'm like, or when I'm talking to like the people who it's their turn, like they're so excited. And I just like look at the people who are like waiting in line, and they just have like this look of just like, fuck my life, I've been waiting for 5 hours. But then right when it's their turn to like come meet us, it literally was like a 180 like shift on their face, like on their body, like in their attitude, and like just this like fire went in their eyes when it was their turn. And I saw that happen like 2,000 times, and 2,000 people's eyes just like it was Christmas morning, like meeting us. And I was just like, how did I do this like to people, or just like affect people like positively for them to like have this reaction when they were meeting me? And it just made me realize that, you know, we are literally putting positive energy into other people. Like that's our job. And I would never want to do anything else other than that.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Bye.